Ronald Chapman joins us right now, federal attorney on all of this. Ron, first off, on the logs and who was going where and when, I'm moving ahead to the Biden administration, not just the White House, but his home, and whether there was any record of that. We're to learn from the president there was not. I guess it's a dumb question on my part. Should there be? In other words, where the president has, a retreat or a vacation home or place he goes to sort of chill out, should there be a record of that?
Well, Neil, first, I think that that's going to be a personal choice depending on who it is. But if you're going to have classified information located in that facility, absolutely you should keep logs. If you recall the General Petraeus case, he had a secured, compartmentalized information facility in his house. And of course, there were logs being kept. In this case, that's certainly Biden's choice. We won't get access to see who was in his property at the time, but that doesn't make it acceptable to have that classified information in that location.
Ron, another question I have for you is that I know one of the chief lawyers for the president did go to the house, the Delaware home, to sort of look at what might have been there. Now, he apparently had clearance, I understand, to look at top secret documents, but we don't know whether the lawyers, and I assume they were lawyers that were brought with him, did. Is that a big deal?
Well, certainly it is. My understanding is that Richard Sauber, President Biden's attorney, did have the ability to review this information and transport it to the Department of Justice or the FBI. The other lawyers, if they did not have security clearance, they would have had an obligation to stop as soon as they saw those records. And I'm assuming that's the reason why they called Sauber in the first place, to handle the transportation of the records or handle getting it over to the FBI. The timeline here is certainly very suspicious, though. We have November 2nd, classified information is found, Sauber is called in. President Biden would have been informed of that, and his obligation at that time would be to ensure that he had no other records on site, and Sauber certainly should have done that too.
If he was aware of that last November then, I don't know any other way to put it but that the president lied. He said he was ignorant of this, didn't know about it, which in of itself raises a lot of issues. But in this case, if he claims he was unaware of this, it's possible he forgot, but your thoughts?
Well, I'm certain that Sauber would have informed the president of the fact that classified information was in his property and that the FBI would have been notified in the Department of Justice. I don't know whether or not the president's lying, but I will tell you that his attorneys would have told him about that fact. But, the failures here are both on the part of the president and his team, as well as Merrick Garland. If you recall, Counsel was appointed to this case to determine if special counsel needed to be involved back in November. And at that time, the president should have ensured that he had no additional classified information. Merrick Garland should have also required some sort of certification from his counsel that no other documents existed in any of his property.
So we know that Merrick Garland appointed a special counsel, Jack Smith, to look into the Trump classified document issue. We know the president commented extensively on that. And then this materializes. Merrick Garland appoints someone to look into this particular stack of documents, Robert Hur to do that. That's two special counsels investigating documents. I'm just wondering whether they would be sharing information, have a need to share information, or operating independently.
Well, Neil, I think they're separate for a reason. First, Jack Smith needs to focus on the Trump case and determine if there's criminal culpability there. Robert Hur needs to look at Biden's case. And I think Merrick Garland's intent here is that you have individual prosecutors investigating and providing individual reports to Merrick Garland so that he can make a decision and ultimately determine if any of them need to be criminally prosecuted for this conduct. I think it's a good idea to have it separate, and I think that's to protect the integrity of the Department of Justice, which is what he's trying to do.